could be with anyone, you're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around for
You could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Hey, what's going on, people? How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's having an awesome time. Before we get started, if you guys can hear me, you can see me, go ahead and hit that 1. If you can't hear me, hit that 2, because then we have to do some other things. All right. But I see a 1 popping there. Thanks so much, Rosemond Harris. Please appreciate you. I'm gonna put my little cap on because we're gonna get into some business tonight. We got some business to take care of, y'all. It's like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some things just to kind of set the stage. All right. And then I'm going to bring you guys up just for full disclosure. I won't have a whole lot of time tonight, so I'm going to try to keep the stream to about 2 hours, which means that I have questions for folks who call in. So we can go through some of the questions, get your perspectives. You can give your point of view, but usually most phone calls only take about a minute and a half or so, just so we can get everybody in who calls in. All right. Vicky from Australia. What's going on? From down under. What's going on, mate? Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that. But yeah, you know what? Thanks to the Sarah Fraser show, which, she did an interview with Christine a little bit ago. There's some new information that came out. Not a whole lot, good bully for her for getting the interview in the first place with Christine. But not a lot of information came out of that, whole discourse. Is definitely worth a watch. But I will say this. I think that the Sister Wives cast, all of them, especially Mary, they've become very good at obfuscating a lot of the information that the audience is actually tuning in to find out. So you tune in to find out how people feel about things, or if something happens, how they feel about it. They talk around the issue, but they never really address the issue. They never really address like what they're going through or what's happening at the time. Now, I understand that there's NDAs in place and all that. But, let's be transparent. The whole reason why people are tuning into these interviews is because they want to find out information. And for you to not give them that information is just bad pool. So, I wanted to be very transparent about that. So when folks watch this interview, it's not like, whoa, we're going to find out a whole bunch of groundbreaking information. Like, some of the stuff has been covered already. Some of the stuff is talked about in the book. This was basically a press tour for the book. Like, Christine went on with the objective of selling the book. And I don't blame her, because she got to get as much juice as she can out of this book, because why not? All right. But one of the things that came out during, Negla came out with a hard left. Negla's not even throwing jabs anymore. She just coming out with roundhouse haymakers. I'm saying, she bringing it from downtown. Negla come out, $2 super chat. The book was trash. She said the book was garbage. I am not finished the book yet. I'm getting into the sister chapters, where she's actually, talking about, like, the last chapter I was in, she talked about getting married to Kody and being married to Kody or whatever. And the proposal and the engagement. They're starting to get into, I think, the sister wife portion of the book. So I'll hold I'll hold my powder on that. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say this. The first part of the book is a little dry. It's given the backstory, it's given some of her life story, but this is actually one of the concerns I would have for them kind of breaking off onto their own. If I'm going to give my honest critique, one of the challenges they'll have in breaking out on their own or doing a show minus Cody and Robin and that whole mess and kerfuffle is that a lot of the alliances that people have towards the OG3 come as a direct result of them not liking Cody and Robin, which is psychologically there's a thing that's done in boot camps. When you go to boot camp in the service, the drill instructors basically become assholes, so you dislike them, right? And you learn to work with each other. That's how you're able to break down a lot of like racial, social, economic barriers between each of the enlisted and recruits, is that you give them something to dislike together, and they bond over disliking this person or this group of people. So every time they see somebody walk out with one of them hats, some drill instructor hats, they go, son of a bitch. And they all say it, you know what I mean, together in a chorus. You could have you could have somebody there with some sticks, you know, leading the chorus, leading the choir, because they're all on that same page, and that unites them. Part of me feels like what's given us a large deference towards OG3 is such a large disdain for the oppression and oppressors that they were facing at the time. And so it begs the question, you know, where does Christine, Mary, and Janelle go once Cody and Robin are no longer on the show? Like, if they left tomorrow, would you watch episode after episode of Christine and Janelle going across the country, just getting into adventures and having conversations that have nothing to do with being involved with sister wives, or nothing to do with Cody and Robin? I mean, that's a question that the producers, I'm sure, are asking, especially as they're considering moving on with spinoffs. But with all that being said, let me give Negla 3 a little something. She's like, no, you know, no safe quarters. And I appreciate that. Like, when push them down the shove, as we do our critiques, no holds barred, baby. As we do our critiques, we have to, I think it's only fair and responsible that we give honest critiques, whether good or bad. You know, no fear nor favor in our observations about what's going on with sister wives. I think that that's the only fair. So if somebody's wrong, you know, that's the, like, to me, some people, you can't ever criticize your friend, or you can't ever criticize your family or your kids. To me, I'd rather have somebody tell me that I'm doing something wrong, as opposed to sitting there watching me self-destruct and not saying anything, because they're supporting me. They got my back. They're on my side. So they never say anything. And so you're sitting there crashing out every week, you know, and then let's talk to them and they tell you that everything you did was right and everything you did was perfect. But you're crashing out the whole time. You're ruining your money. You're putting your livelihood in jeopardy and everything else. So that's why I say, like, a real friend and a real fan of Janelle, Mary, Christine, or anybody on the show is going to tell them the truth and is going to be honest. Like, if she comes out with a book and that book, you know, it gets some headway, because let's be honest, it's the first book of its kind post polygamy. It's the first book from an ex. It's the first book where the fan base is expecting certain information. You can ride that for a little bit. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like that she's one and done. You can ride that feeling and that expectation for maybe 2 or 3 books. But about the 3rd book in, and you don't say anything that's relevant, you know, or important, what some of the people are tuning in for, then nobody is listening to that book. You understand what I mean? Nobody's listening to the book. Nobody's buying the book. Nobody's reading the book. So, you know, we got to be honest. Like, if, you know, Negla, that she's entitled to her opinion, she doesn't like the book. Some people are going to love a book. They give it what I call the 80s grace. You know what I mean? In the 80s, when movies came out, you just basically gave them grace. That's why we had so many movies like in the 80s, 90s that were just shit movies that they're trying to make what do you call them things, like when they redraft it and they re-release it. That's why they have so many of those that are just terrible movies, because the premise, the original premise that they had working within the 80s, the TV shows and stuff, them shits was light as hell. As far as storyline was concerned, character development, plot lines, light as hell. So in order for you to damn, I almost said it. In order for you to redo the movie or the show, you essentially have to rewrite everything. So the people who you would tap into for nostalgia don't like it because it's nothing like the original. And the new people think that the whole thing is corny, so they don't like it. And that's why so many of those things flop. You understand what I mean? And I think that that's kind of where we are, potentially with the Sister Wives, is that, people like it because where we were. They accepted the polygamy thing. They accepted the the whole thing with Kody and them. And now we're just in a different place. And now they have to give us more. Now you can't just get up and say something about the fat guy. Like if you're a comedian, you can't just get up and say something about the fat guy in the front row. You actually have to have a joke. Political correctness. No, you actually have to write a joke. It has to be funny. It has to be relevant. It just can't be mean. And you're saying something that everybody's shocked about. Now people aren't shocked anymore. People aren't shocked about polygamy anymore. And when you have like that 80s premise from those old TV shows, what was required between the shows and the movies was that when you went into the movie or whatever, you just basically turned your brain off. Hence, i.e. Rambo, i.e. Commando, i.e. Terminator, or any of those 80s action movies. When you went in there, you turned your brain off. Though Terminator, that movie would have been 5 minutes long. You got a robot that looks like a person, crazy strength, all kinds of knowledge and information, knows exactly what people are, finding them, went to a police station, wiped out a whole police station by himself. And that dude was beat by a guy with a pipe. Like, come on, man. That movie would have been 5 minutes long. You're like, Shadow Connor, roll credits. Right? So it's kind of the same thing. Like some of the books right now, because of the grace that a lot of the fans give them, I think that they can ask you to kind of turn off your judgment, turn off your criticism, turn off your eye, so you're not really looking at it and judging it for what it is, But my question is, anybody who loves the first portion of the book, especially Christine's history, my question is, would you read that if it came from somebody else? If it wasn't Christine Brown Woolley, if it was Barbara Sue Johnson or Barbara Sue Kingston from the Kingston clan, if they came out with a book and they talked about how they grew up and how they saw their religion and why they thought their religion was cool and why they loved having multiple moms and why they couldn't go to school and tell the teacher about their family structure, would you buy that book and would you read it? Because if that's the case, there are plenty of books out there like that are not bestsellers, New York Times bestsellers. Just saying. Let me just see something real quick. Yeah. Okay. Look, Orange was saying, I ain't paying for nothing. Let me give Negla 3 a little something. So thank you so much, Negla 3. Getting the conversation started, yo. Yeah, like I said, I'm still working my way through the book. I'm not going into it thinking negatively about the book. I mean, it is what it is. Like I think that that's a fair statement. It's not that I want to be in love with the book because I want to just ignore everything. I do understand that the book is what it is, and I'm taking it for that. And then I'll take what information I can glean from it that I think is interesting and share it with you guys. But I'm not gonna, like, I was gonna do a straight up book review. I'm not doing that just because, like, the first 2 chapters, although they provide some background on Christine, it's not new information. It's not new information. It's not nothing. It's not something where you read it like, whoa, I never understood that. I never knew that. Everything she said in the first couple chapters is, if you watch the show, you already know about. It's kind of like when she gets up and she criticizes Kody and or Robin or Mary, we understand what's going on. You know what I mean? It's not new information. We knew they didn't like each other. So it's not like, oh my goodness, Christine didn't like Robin? Holy smokes. Sound the alarms. But this is for our negative. All right. Yeah, just real quick. Let me rip through this, or at least talk about some of the things that I want to talk about so I can open up the stage for you guys. Right off the rip, you know, as we sit here and we talk about like the whole thing with David, right? And I took the position initially that, you know, what kind of lunatic has their ex's abusive ex reach out to you and you sit down and have a conversation and go out on a fun date or a fun day? And I was adamant about that. And maybe myself, as well as other creators who may have had that same position, reached the ivory towers of Christine and her team, and they decided that they were going to come out and explain it before the season started. So the way Christine explained it on the Sarah Fraser show is she said that Kody reaches out to the producers to meet with Christine and David. So Kody is the one who initiated the whole thing by reaching out to the producers to set something up. Now, right there, I'm going to be very honest. For me, red flags shoot off immediately. And I say that because, you know, at any other time, Kody will contact, when he tries to reach out to the kids or the wives, or he tries to talk to them, he has no problem doing it ex parte. He has no problem reaching out to them one-on-one and speaking to them directly, as opposed to reaching out to the producers to set something up. Because when he reaches out to the producers to set something up, what he's actually doing is he's reaching out to the cameras. He's reaching out to make sure that everything that is said is documented, because he's in the search for not only content, but in my opinion, I think that he's looking for some type of leg up in that situation. Like, he's looking for an advantage. And judging by the poll, let's read through some of the results. I'll leave it up. Out of 106 people who have responded, if you haven't responded yet, you can respond to the poll, and you'll be counted. We'll come back to it before the stream is over. Also, hit that like button. You know, fill out the poll, hit the like button. It's awesome. But what I asked was, what do you think Cody's meeting with Christine and David was really about? The first answer was to improve co-parenting relationships. And I think that that's important, because that's something that we're about to talk about real quick. But the other option, now, in fairness, improve co-parenting relationship, that got 7%. 7% of you said, yeah, he was trying to improve the relationship between himself and Christine and Robin. 93% of you said this was another Kody power play. And that's kind of where I'm leaning, just because of who he is and how he's been over the 19 seasons. Now, the whole thing is that when you think about this is less about, especially when you're dealing with somebody like Kody, it's less about family healing and more about the WWE pay-per-view SummerSlam edition. Okay, because Cody's going to bring, you know, when Kody comes to these types of meetings, he comes with a +1, and that +1 is chaos. Okay, he's a professor of chaos. He brings that chaos with him. Now, when Christine receives, according to her, when she received the invitation from TLC and the producers, she wasn't thrilled about it. Okay, She wasn't thrilled about it. She wasn't happy about it. And she refused to do it, which I can understand. Now, David, he argues it's for the kids. Now, I got to tell you, just from that description, that gives David a huge advantage as far as I'm concerned, as far as parenting skills and as far as being a real man in this situation. I don't want to be a male chauvinist like that, but that's, to me, that's what that is. Like, that's manhood speaking. Like, David is thinking about what's best for the kids, not even necessarily what's best for the adults in the situation, but he's thinking about what's best for the young folks. Because by them meeting with each other, they're letting the kids know that it's okay for them to talk too. Right. So if they're taking sides, like he feels like if the kids are taking sides and maybe they dislike Kody because they don't want to betray their mom, because Kody does have a thing where you say, well, that proves that, Christine is keeping the kids away from him. I beg to differ, because Cody's the one who takes that position. So in Cody's interpretation, if you're still talking to Christine, you've betrayed me. You aren't loyal to me. So when you put it that way and you give them the ultimatum, problem with giving ultimatums, you might not like the answer. Okay. So when they give the answer and they say, okay, you know what? We're on mom's side then. If we got to choose between the two of you, you did her dirty, you did her wrong, and I'm on her side. But David is basically saying that we should get together to show the kids that it's okay, because we're going to deal with each other no matter what. Weddings, funerals, and unfortunately, they've had both since then. Logan was married, and then Garrison, the tragic events surrounding Garrison. So they've had both. And in addition to that, you're going to have grandkids who are going to go to first day of school, going to have like their graduations and parent-teacher nights and maybe daddy-daughter dance, proms and things of that nature. You guys have to be able to deal with each other. And so by David taking that position, he's already more considerate than Kody is, and how he's been, even with Cody's own children. And I want to stress that point. These are not Christine's kids. These are not Janelle's kids. The one common denominator, maybe sans Robin's eldest 3 children, is Kody Brown. He's the one common denominator between all of them. We can say that Christine was mother to Janelle's kids and Mary's child, but Kody Brown is not perhaps their father, or metaphorically their father, or a title. He is legitly their father. He's the one common denominator. So if anybody should be concerned about it, it should be him, right? Now so when we break it all down, David's priority is the kids. Cody's priority has always been Kody. So you ask him, why is the sky blue? Kody will say, because he deserves it. I deserve blue skies. I deserve clear skies. I deserve to see not a cloud in the sky when I'm having my days and I'm walking the earth, because that's how he sees himself. So when we talk about the meeting and going into this racing episode, like the speed track racing idea, that was David's plan, because he wanted to make it fun. He said, you know what, I'll meet with them, we can meet with them, but since they're paying, because clearly they're going to pay for the event because they're going to film it and they're going to be there all day, let's make it fun. Let's do something fun and entertaining. So he decided that they were going to go down to one of those exotic racetrack places. They were going to run around driving exotic, expensive ass supercars around an enclosed track, right? Now, throughout all this, David's trying to figure out a way to make it make more sense for them to be able to do it with the kids. And Cody's trying to figure out how he can make this about himself, how he can protect himself, how he can present himself. Like the blow up that they reportedly had. Now, we didn't get any details, because again, Christine is she gives a lot of teasers during the course of this Sarah Fraser interview. So she doesn't get any details. But according to her, Kody says things during this meeting that anger both Christine and David. And that is a shocker to nobody. When you went into that meeting, you should have 100% expected that he was going to say something jacked up whether on purpose or just serendipity, like because he can't help himself. Okay, because it could be anything. It could be anything, and I'd be willing to wager, like, if he said something that was, that he didn't really intend to get an anger, or he wasn't trying to get somebody mad or create like an explosive situation, I can completely see him making a reference that Christine stole Truly, that she's keeping Truly away from him, and he needs to be able to have access to his daughter, right? And here's the thing: if indeed, because we've all made the assessment, a lot of us have made the assessment that Kody is a narcissist, right? We can't clinically diagnose him because we not have the credentials to do it. And even if you did have the credentials, we don't talk to him, or we haven't spoken to him in person, so we don't know enough about him to accurately to be able to determine that that's the case. However, if we take the position that Kody is in fact a narcissist, right? This is classic victory through consensus. That would very well be the objective. It's not enough for a narcissist to be right, right? Because they always think they're right. They want to have everybody else acknowledge that they're right. They want everybody else to look at them and say, you know what? The Cody's right. He's doing the right thing because Christine is such a mean lady. She's mean lady. So he brings the cameras to reinforce that point. The same way when he had the argument with Janelle in her apartment, pardon me, and he gave her significant pushback, and he talked to her about how, tell the camera, tell the world how that wasn't, it's weird, but if you put yourself in the mind of somebody like that, it makes perfect sense, because in his mind, he's right. And he wants everybody to see how wrong Janelle is, because it's that victory through consensus. So the goal for him very well may not be co-parenting. It's getting witnesses to his victim narrative, that he's not allowed to see his kids because she's holding his children from him. And in that, I suspect that it's going to turn into an ambush. And that is very much on brand for Kody Brown. Now, in context, Christine filed for custody and child support around this time. So any conversation that they have may be flirtive of that subject matter. Kody can't publicly complain, she wants my money, though he did say that and something similar to that in season 17, talking about, don't go get a man who's going to try to come after my money, if you recall that conversation. Like, he pushed her to file all proceedings, all petitions, all motions in Arizona, and to never file for custody, support, or anything of the like in Utah. And of course, that would be a bad move and a big old stupid bucket of stupid for Christine if she went along with that. One, your child lives in Utah. It makes no sense for you to go to Arizona. So no matter what happened, if Kody goes to court and he loses, he very well could turn around and say, Your Honor, we heard this case, and I was given a huge monetary bill in the form of child support. And to be honest with you, Your Honor, the court that heard this case didn't have jurisdiction, because the mother and the child reside in Utah. So therefore, anything that comes out of Arizona, what are we doing? Right? And even if he signed off on it, the fact of the matter is, if you do something like that, what you're going to have to do is, if she wants to file any paperwork, she wants to file any motions or petitions, she wants to get a motion for a modification. So after you get your order and you're living with that order, you're supposed to drop the kid off to him. Like, you're supposed to take Truly and drop her off at Cody and Robin's doorstep every other weekend, right? And you pull up, maybe the first 5 times you pull up for your custodial transfer and that visit, he's not home. Then in order for you, or you find out, like, apparently they didn't even have a place inside, like a room inside the home for Truly. She was staying out in like the garage or something, right? When she went to visit, the few times she went to visit him. So if you find out that that's the case and you want to file a modification, you have to take your ass all the way to Arizona to file your modification. And it gets expensive because then you have to hire an Arizona attorney. You're living by Arizona law, et cetera, et cetera. So no, just on sheer convenience. You never file in a place just for his convenience. That's craziness. The likely undertone that we can talk about. Like, what he could go and say is, and I can very much see this being his position. I'm sorry if this is Kody. I'm sorry if I hurt you. Let's move on for the kids, though. Or something he said historically. Stop talking trash publicly. Let me have access to my kids. These are all things that I can see, like him saying, maybe not even coming directly at him and this causing a problem. Okay, because it assumes the presupposition is that Christine is the one keeping the kids away from him and she's doing something wrong by talking trash about him. And this is also trying to get her to admit things on camera so that when they're standing there in court, he has a recording and potentially words coming out of her mouth, which goes against interest, which would be completely admissible in court. So the purpose of him doing that would be for him to absolve himself, reframe his absence from Truly as Christine blocking access. So he's going to reframe it. And we've been watching this reframe over the course of several seasons now, as we've talked about historically, especially keep it in mind. We have that Special Forces show coming up that he fully knows about. Christine says she didn't know anything about it. She found out with us that he was on Special Forces. He knew he was on Special Forces. He had already filmed it. It was already in the can. He knew it was coming out. He knew he was going to be in season 4 Special Forces. And he knew he was going to be introduced to a new audience. And so this meeting would be on brand for that, because he wants to be sure that when people start looking into him and checking about him, he's going to be able to say that I'm this kind of person. And this is the wicked woman who keeps my kids from me. That's why I don't see my kids all the time. It's not that I'm doing something wrong, it's her. And this sells the heroic victim narrative to a Special Forces audience. Christine becomes the villain. She will be the built-in villain, the baked-in villain. Like, so the add-on jab he might use, in addition to like that parting shot, like when they, referee like, all right, break it up, and you click them with one good one, right? Because they're not really ready for it. The parting shot might be last year's claim he and Robin funded the kids' college. Now it's just them doing it for Robin's kids, and how it's not fair. Because that's one of the things he also said last season, where he was talking about, Robin, and they stayed around and Robin helped kick in for their kids. Now it's just Robin's kids and they've all abandoned ship now that their kids have gone on and graduated from school and they've already sucked money out of the family, essentially. So that's a very kind way of saying that they stole money from he and Robin, because they were using family money to help pay for these other kids, which, by the way, goes back to my original point. These are his kids. You can't steal money. Nobody is stealing money from you to take care of your children, asshole. These are your kids. These aren't Christine, Janelle, and Mary's kids. These are your kids. Kody is the common denominator amongst all 13 of those children. He's the common denominator. Technically, it's 15 children if you include Robin's too, right? And this pits the wives against each other. It makes Robin a victim, plays the unfair burden card. Oh, Robin, she suffered so much. Like he came out and tried to tell us that Robin didn't take a check the first season that she was on the show. No, you didn't get a check because they were behind on their bills, because they were too busy paying for you to live around the corner and not work. They were paying for you to stay home. That's why you had to give up your first check, because they were paying out of pocket. Because let's be very clear. When you work on, whether you work on a reality show, you work on a movie, you work on a scripted television show under a SAG contract, which is way more protective than anything that they offer in reality TV. If you work under a SAG contract, you don't get paid until you're complete your time there. So if you have to go, like if they make arrangements for you to get your meals or they put you up in a hotel, they will pay for that. In some cases, you might even get a reimbursement. But they'll take care of that for you. But you don't get your paycheck until if you orchestrate it, you structure your contract, maybe you'll get paid once a month or so if you're doing a consistent show. But there's a very strong possibility you won't get paid at all until the project is done. If you're a day player, you don't get paid until your time on that show is done. You've done your part. So you show up, you do like you're there for a week, 2 weeks, a month or whatever. And then after they wrap you, you finish your portion, you get a check. That's when you get a check. For reality shows, you don't get paid to the end of the season. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back who might not understand what I'm saying and try to take pity on Cody and Robin, but thinking that Robin was actually giving something up. You don't get paid to the end of the season, which means that when Robin commanded and demanded that she have her own place around the corner in Lehigh, the family had to pay for that. That's how she got her own place. They had to pay not only for her to move down, they had to pay her rent. They had to pay for food in her refrigerator so she could feed her kids. And the crazy part is that if any one of the three wives, the OG3, had food in their refrigerator, that food would be accessible to all the children. The food would be accessible to all the children. Anything that was in Robin's house was not accessible to all the children. Kids couldn't just walk over to Robin's house, open up the door, go into the house, open a refrigerator, and pull out a snack. So she at least had to be home. There was guardrails. And not to mention, I'm sure somebody's going to put it in the chat. Robin had a note on her refrigerator, don't take shit out of my refrigerator unless you have permission. So when they paid for her and she didn't get paid, that's because they were paying for her. I'm sure because this was a family who was not doing well financially, bills were being missed. So because bills were being missed and things were not being paid, shit was coming in late because we paying for the girlfriend to live around the corner and then the wife to live around the corner by herself in a little hideaway honeymoon suite. Because we're paying for that, we're not paying for things here, things we need to pay for here. So when the check comes in, yeah, we're going to take that check and apply it to the bills that we haven't been paying. The bills that have late fees associated with it. So there is a logic to it. They may not admit it, they might not like it, but there is a logic to it. And I want to put in a reminder. Again, when we're talking about the kids, he is the common denominator. These are his kids. So there's no apology owed for him supporting them, period. You don't get grace because you took care of your children. You don't get grace because you were contributing to your child going to college or contributing to your child having a car or insurance or whatever the case may be. That's not a gift, asshole. That's what you should be doing without question. So he and Robin have been more than compensated via the family funds that they siphoned. Like, you guys have took way more money than you were probably due and owed any damn way. So you are making out like bandits. So the fact that you think that you could steal all that money, then come back allegedly. Okay, we'll say allegedly. That you allegedly, according to the lore and canon of the show, you guys stole a shit ton of money and you still expect them to pay for Robin's kids? And take care of your bills and your responsibility? Because again, these kids are not these women's kids. They're Robin's kids. They're Kody's kids. Kody adopted the older three. They're your responsibility too, asshole. That's what happens when you adopt people. They're your responsibility. Legally, you are responsible. Just like you birthed them, just like you're the natural father. Welcome to it, ass. That's you are celebrating the fact that you adopted. We're making our dreams come true. Well, guess what? Here's the truth. They're your kids now. So you and Robin are responsible for those kids. You are responsible for, partly responsible, at least half responsible for the kid you had with Mary, the child you had with Mary, the children you had with Christine, and the children you had with Janelle. They aren't responsible. They took responsibility for each other's children, but they aren't really morally responsible. If Christine walked out and said, I don't want anything else to do with Janelle's kids, cruel, yes. But would she be wrong? Would she be wrong? These aren't my kids. She sees them as her kids. She raised them as her kids. That's cool. But these were Christine's kids, Janelle's kids, Mary's child. Common denominator, Kody Brown. The bigger point that I want to talk about, especially when it comes to this whole, like them getting together. David is following the healthy co-parenting rule. You show up for the kids. You're going to have to deal with each other. So you try to make it so that you can go up and show up to events and the kids don't have to make a choice on who they want to come because you guys can't get along. Well, last time when we had an event, we invited P-Paul. Next month when we have an event, we're going to invite Meemaw. If you want to be able to participate in everything, you guys have to be able to get along. That's just a common rule, common parlance. Plus, you're adult enough to make these kids together. You're adult enough to be able to take care of these kids together. So that's why that's the rule. Now, as with any rule, there's always an exception. Okay? Because the reality check is the rules shift when the other party is Kody Dan Brown. Okay? He's the exception. He will be an example of an exception. Okay? David, in this case, he's playing chess for the kids. Kody is playing Candyland for this damn ego. Okay? It's a twisted angle. Like, it's just crazy as hell because Kody once, suggested, and I mean this in all seriousness and dexterity. Kody has suggested that when Christine meets somebody and marry them, she moves them around the corner from him, right down the street next door, and they could join the family. But when they join the family, this man joins the family. He's not starting David. We know is now David. David's not joining, creating a family with Christine. He's joining Kody's family. And you can't ask a man to join another man's family just as you wouldn't ask a woman to join another woman's family. Right? And Kody's supposed to be the patriarch. He's supposed to be the leader of the family, and David's supposed to fall in line. That doesn't make any damn sense when Kody said it. It certainly doesn't make any sense now that you can put a name and a face and a personality to the person that Christine actually married. Right? So it's just like, that's just crazy sauce. Now, the whole, like I said, the whole translation to that, so that I can be very clear, is they would be joining Kody's family structure, not form their own family structure. He's the patriarch. Kody wanted to be the mayor of Crazy Town and make them the new citizens of his crazy ass, little corner of the world. The goal shouldn't be, I'm going to do what you want and fall under you, and that way we bring about peace. The goal should be, we're going to co-parent, not be reabsorbed into Kody's little orbit to make him feel better so that he'll participate and play nice. Like that, you shouldn't have to sell yourself or settle down yourself or dull your light in order to be a part of somebody else's situation. If he can't handle you, then he can't handle you. That's his problem. Right? And when push comes down to shove, Christine doesn't owe him that. Christine doesn't owe him anything. And David damn sure doesn't have to play along. And if he did play along, I probably wouldn't respect him for that. If he would have moved to Arizona and bought a house so that he could be around, so that Kody could pretend to be a father when they're shooting, because Truly only has like 3 years and then she's an adult. Like Truly's 15 years old. So she has 3 more years and she's a damn adult. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to move down there so you can pretend to be a dad when you want to be a dad when TLC cameras are around for 3 years. And then when Truly gets married, goes to college, moves out, whatever she does, or it stays at home. She's an adult. And the same way Kody could contact the other children because they're all adults, he could contact Truly if that's what he really wanted to do. Truly has a phone. I've seen her on a show with a phone. So if Kody wanted to contact her, he could reach out to her directly. This isn't the old school where you only had one landline in the house and your parents, You know, anytime you was on the phone, it always seemed like your parents would pick the phone up and start dialing numbers. Do, 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 do. Hello, get off the phone. Yeah, they don't have that. These kids will never know that struggle. Not only do they have their own phone, they have their own phone lines. Okay. They could be talking to somebody at 4 o'clock in the morning. You would have no idea unless you got up and went down the hall or went to the bathroom or went downstairs or something. You'd have no idea that your kid's in there talking to somebody at 4 o'clock in the morning because they have their own damn phone. They could be there texting somebody for all you know. Right. So overall, was the meeting a good idea? On paper, maybe. In practice, probably not. Because you're not co-parenting with Kody. You're entering a stage play where he's the victim, Christine is the villain, and Robin is the tragic sidekick. Instead of progress, Christine and David were auditioning for the Kody Brown redemption tour. If TLC wanted drama, mission accomplished. You guys got what you want, a nice little storyline, and you got to put it in a fun setting. Thank you, David, for that production tip. But sit with Kody in this meeting, and you're not co-parenting. You're co-starring in a circus with one ringmaster, Kody damn Brown. And those are my thoughts on that whole situation. Like, I think that, we'll probably I know we'll get into it as we see it unfold on TLC, what the argument is about and everything else. But I just wanted to give that tip. Let me drop the... Oh, we had a super chat come in while I was prattling on from a local art switch, $5 super chat. Makes me sad that you can follow all your religious rules and end up in a marriage like Christine with Kody and Anna with Josh Duggar. Yeah. Because a lot of times, like the rules that are set aren't necessarily, especially, I'll say it this way. If you're following the rules and the other person isn't, you're only handicapping or limiting yourself, and I think that they go in, especially Christine, she went into this marriage with kind of a fanciful view of romance, relationship, and what her life was going to be like when she finally hit that milestone. And I think that she was, because of that hope, that dream, and dare I say naivete, it made her more vulnerable to somebody like Kody. So she goes in with the best of intentions, trying to do the right thing, trying to do it the right way, and he doesn't. And he took advantage of her for that point. So, and when push comes down to shove, not only did he take advantage of her because she was trying to get this relationship and make it work, because this is what she envisioned her life goal and life mission to be. But when he got tired of pretending to make her dreams come true and make her life, seem even possible, when he was tired of pretending, he got the person that he wanted. And because he got what he wanted from the person he wanted, he was able to walk away from Christine and leave her, high and dry. But thank you so much, local art switch. Let's give you a little something. All right. I'm going to open up the chat. All right, here's the link. I'm going to pop it up top. Just keep in mind, I have to limit the phone call time a little bit, just because I have some things I have to take care of tonight. And this is like this is kind of the quiet before the storm. So these are our last few weeks before we have Sister Wives, and Sunday is pretty much locked up for me at that point. So this is my last few weeks of craziness. So was this Wendy's front yard? She's got another book coming out. This one was never meant to have the real tea. Frankly, the next one probably won't either. Yeah. From what I understand, Wendy, what she said on Christine is the she we're referring to. What Christine said on Sarah Fraser's show is that her and David are actually writing a book about their love story and about marriage and how they're dealing with like being remarried after, you know, David's wife had passed away, and you know, Christine is a divorcee. So you have a divorcee and a widower talking about like finding love again, I guess, especially as an older person, and how wonderful and magical it is and how they get along. And the differences between Christine learning how to be a monogamist, learning to take other people in consideration, because according to her, because she was a polygamist, so much of what she did was independent of other people. So, or her partner. So she, you know, because Kody wasn't around, so she had to make decisions for herself the way she wanted to make decisions for herself. So she was pretty much the leader of the family, didn't really have to answer to anybody except for when Kody came around. And when he didn't come around, she didn't, you know, she did what she wanted to do. All right. But let me bring up Negla 3. What's going on, Negla? How you doing?
Hey, brother.
What's happening?
I'm doing good. I know I've been on kind of like potty mouth with my chats today.
That's all right.
You know what? And I promise you I'm gonna keep it quick. But the book, and I'm mad at myself. Well, I'm not mad. So Brittany had mentioned, you know, supporting local retailers or whatever. I'm not even gonna lie, I couldn't find it in any bookstores. And I live in, you know, the capital city of Ohio. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. My husband has a Kindle. I ordered it on Kindle. I really wish I would have got the YouTube free version. I'm just telling you. And her voice, it's like nails in a...
the nails on the chalkboard.
Oh my God, sweetheart. And I had to play it at like, I think it was either 1.5 or 1.8%, because it was like, she's just... It's kind of like, remember when she first got with David, and she's like, oh my gosh, we kissed. And
right.
I want to call her a name, and I don't want to call her a name. I respect her hustle. I'm not mad at her hustle, and I'm not mad at her story. But it was just like, really, oh my God, I wasted 2 hours listening to this mess.
Right.
I could have took my kids to Wyandotte Lake or something. I don't know. Right. Anyway, that was just my feeling, and I don't want to necessarily take it out on her, but because I don't think it was necessarily her fault, but it's just something about the way that she's so like Pollyanna-ish with it. Does that make sense? Like,
yes. I feel you, because it's basically because the one thing that I think is kind of that, I won't say I was insulted by it or angered by it, but it was like it kind of stuck on me a little bit when she came out and was like, "Oh, I recommend divorce for everybody. I recommend this for everybody." And I get where she was coming from and what she was saying, but not everybody is in your situation.
Exactly.
And I think that like listening to like between her and Mary, especially from the life coach angle, like it's just understanding that most of the women whom you're referring to and you see yourself as an inspiration for are not in a situation where their husband has basically gifted them a home. And so when they leave that relationship, they can walk away with that relationship with their children and a few $100,000 to start life. A lot of women women and men, but a lot of, you know, particularly women, let's be honest, when they walk out of these relationships, they walk out with the clothes on their back, and they don't, and some of them don't even, you know, drive off. They go down to the bus stop
in the middle of the night, excommunicated by the only family they've ever known all of their life. So, you know, and she walked into, and I'm not saying David is like Mr. Moneybags, but you know what I mean? He's got, you know, a little, you know, he's
doing all right.
Exactly. He ain't eating ramen noodles. We'll put it that way. They're not eating ramen noodles. Okay.
He ain't missing meals.
There you go. You can tell. So I mean, he's a sweet guy, and I will say I really do like she was blessed.
Right.
Absolutely. To be able to walk into that relationship given what she came from. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. No, because I think that's also part of it too. You have to recognize how lucky you are in this situation. You are very fortunate. You're
Yes.
beyond fortunate. Like you said, you're blessed in this particular
Yes.
situation because
Yeah.
not only were you able to successfully part from untangle your finances and part with a husband that you didn't want to be associated with anymore, but you were
Yeah.
able to move into a new home. You were able
Yes.
to meet a gentleman who not only accepted you, but accepted your children and accepted your previous situation. And he is there to help you grow. It's already, if we're going to call it all the way a buck, without any impediments or obstacles, any baggage, it's already hard enough for you to meet another person who you can
Absolutely.
spend your time with. But when
Yep.
you're walking in with 6 kids, you're walking
You
in
got
with
6 little
ex-husband,
suitcases. You got a
right?
whole cart, a
Right,
whole
you got
airport cart,
suitcases, trunks. You got a storage unit. You come from a
carry-ons.
polygamous family. You know, like the
Yeah.
odds were stacked against you.
Yeah,
Like, they
absolutely.
were.
And you know what? And he had the same. So that's why I'm saying she really was blessed to be able to walk into that situation. Just she said, yeah, she had tried to date, I think maybe 3 or 4 people, but then when she met David, he was like, okay, so we going to Zales?
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's popping with them diamonds? You know, we head to the diamond district, yo.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Knocking
Absolutely.
it down.
No
100%.
questions asked. So but yeah, but I don't know. That was just my feeling on the book. And as far as Fauntleroy and Robert, you already know they're trash. They're trashy. I'd rather read her book than watch anything with them. I'm just telling you that, and that's just a negla thing.
That's the bottom line, right?
It's just a negla 3 thing. I don't
Right.
care. I don't know, but you know what I will say, and I'm gonna let you go because I know your time is very limited. But I don't know what more else, and I've kind of upset at myself because the book was hyped up so much that I don't know what else I should have expected from the book. Does that make sense? Because if
No,
she
I
spends
get
the
it.
whole book bashing Fauntleroy, it's not really a book. It's just a him hater book.
Right.
It's not really an actual book about her and her life. But I just didn't realize how boring she was. Sorry, shouldn't have said that.
Is what it is. No, look, I appreciate it. And again, I think that, like, if anything, especially on the channel, like I'm gonna be 100%. You guys can criticize me in my opinions. You can disagree with me. I don't care. But I think that we have to create a space where people can come in and express
Sure.
their opinions and be honest about it. And even in that honesty, again, if I had a friend, I want my friends to tell me where I'm messing up. And if she's coming out with a book, it's up to us as her fans. Like, if you want the best for her, come out and tell the truth about her book. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't dress it up and make it, oh, this book is awesome. It's groundbreaking. It is life-changing. Don't do that, because her next book will be the carbon copy of this book, just without all the hype. And she won't be able to sell 4 copies of that bad boy. So if you want her to be successful, you have to give her positive criticism. You have to be able to say, like, this is good, this is bad, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like.
Absolutely.
It is what
I
it is,
totally get that. And that's fair. Like, if your show wasn't I would let you know. I'd be like, James, now you know you cool people. No, that last podcast was booty. Okay,
Right,
I'm gonna tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do it to
but
yourself
it's out of love. But you understand what I'm saying? It's out of love.
Right.
It's not out of like, okay, yeah, I want to see you destroyed or whatever. Why do you think I keep buying the super chats? I told you I'll buy you super chats all day. I ain't paying for nothing from the Brown family household. I was willing to buy that book, but I'm glad I didn't have to.
Right.
So. Don't tell nobody. I think there's an FCC violation there somewhere.
Right. We'll keep it
anyway, brother.
The internet.
Brother, please, again, I tell you this every time. Thank you for creating a safe space. Second of all, please have a blessed week. All of my Might Take family, same, please.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Negla, love the hair. That's awesome. Loving the hair. It's awesome.
It's look, all I gotta do is get up and bump it. That's it.
There you go. Make it do what it do.
There you go. All right, brother. Take care.
I'll talk to you later. Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
Right. Awesomeness. That was Negla 3 up in the house. Yeah. But I mean, look, people gonna keep it a buck. Like, that's the one thing I do like. I like when people keep it all the way straight, you know, because if you're wrong, you're wrong. And what could we imagine for a second, you know, for people who may get angry that I might say something about Christine or Janelle or Mary, could you imagine a world where Kody had somebody who had pulled his ass aside and said, "Yo, man, you messing up." You understand what I mean? Like, that's what friends do. Friends aren't people who sit there in a car with you and try to explain away and justify you mistreating your wives or your children and why you deserve to be free because you're a man and these women don't understand what chicks don't understand what dudes be going through. Right? And they sit there and try to justify why he gets to abandon his family. That's not a friend. A friend will pull you aside, be like, bro, you messing up. A friend is the one who goes to the bar with you, knowing full well that you married and you said that you committed to this person and you made a family and a life with this person and you sitting there flirting with somebody. A friend is the one that's going to pull you up and be like, yo, bro, what you doing, man? What you doing? Besides, you made me spend all that money for that tuxedo to come to your damn wedding. You are not going to throw it away behind some floozy in a bar. Let's go. That's a friend. A friend that, man, she hot, bro. You need to go over there and see what that's about. You need to see what's cracking, bro. That's not a friend, right? So, like, my honesty might be it might sting, might not be the positive, you know, the most popular advice or observations all the time, but it's just like I do want the best for them. And me saying something about their book is not me hating on them and wishing the worst for them. It's me wanting the best for them. Like, I want her to be able to take this opportunity and run with it and not take this opportunity and fumble the damn bag. TLC. But next up, we got Christy. Christy, what's going on?
Hey, James, great to talk to you. I want to discuss the book.
Okay.
From the minute I started reading it, all I could think about is I cannot wait to talk to James about a few points in the book. I pre-ordered it. I got it Tuesday evening. I finished it Thursday evening. And I haven't heard anybody mention this, but then again, I haven't really been on a lot of podcasts or anything like that lately. But the first thing that struck me was Christine mentioned when she was talking about Cody and Robin meeting that they met December 29th of 2009 and courted approximately 5 months before they got married.
Mhm.
Okay. She said they met at an event that Mary and Cody went to. This contradicts all the other stories we've heard. The timeline doesn't match up. They've always said that their courtship was about 10 months, and there was nothing about Reba's house, nothing about the lightning bolts in church, anything like that. They met at an event. So I'm assuming she was talking about the dance that Cody and Mary, and she never mentioned anything about Cody and Mary keeping Robin's existence a secret, anything like that. And so I really, really wonder what happened for sure, because we have like 4 different stories now, and it's really suspect about the timeline with Cody and Robin, because I think they got married like in May or something of 2010. So if they met December 29th of 2009, I mean, I may not be the best in math, but that doesn't add up to 10 months for me.
Right. Right.
And what was the other point? Oh, well, before I can think of it, the one thing that really annoyed me in the book, I've never heard her use this word, but it was prevalent throughout the whole book: rubbish. She used that word over and over again. I don't know if she's picking up on Cody's tendencies to find a word and grasp onto it. But
Right.
if I hear that word again from anybody now, it's just going to make my skin crawl. It is so overused. And the other thing, when I was reading the book, I was, of course, I have watched every episode, never missed one from season 1 on, have done a few rewatches, not of every episode, but certain ones now and then.
Mhm.
And plus, the original book, Becoming Sister Wives. So I'm pretty familiar with their backstory, at least as it has been presented to us. And I was looking at her book, trying to look at it through the eyes of somebody who didn't really have a lot of knowledge on their background. I think the book would really be boring for somebody who didn't know, because I could fill
Mm.
in the blanks of
Right.
a lot of things that were taken out. But if I'm looking at it through the lens of somebody who doesn't know a lot of information about the family, the book would be really boring to me.
Right.
Just
Right.
my opinion.
Well, because that's part of what I was saying earlier. Like, especially that, like, because I'm at the part where she's about to start talking about Robin coming into the family. And where I am right now, if I was not familiar with Christine from the show, like if this was just, some random person's book or whatever that I picked up, this would be, I won't say it'd be, not informative. It is informative, but it would just be, it certainly wouldn't be a contender for a New York Times bestseller. We'll put it that way.
Right.
And I do think that, like, to be honest with you, and let's be fair, I think that you're 100% right. That if, this book is for the fans, like that's probably what she should have called it, for the fans. Because if you haven't watched the show, a lot of the things that would be talked about, because even in the chapters that I've gotten through so far, this is all information. It may add layers to the information that we already knew, but it's information that we already knew. And it's like I'm not finding anything new or discovering anything as I'm reading through the book currently where I'm at. So it's really for somebody who is in the sister wife lore and understands all the players as they come in. Like, oh, he met and was going to marry this woman named Janelle. I know who Janelle is, but if I was reading the book, I wouldn't have any idea what she was talking about. Like, because she didn't put any real clarity on her relationship with Mary prior to marrying into the family, her relationship with Janelle prior to marrying into the family. So I'll give you that. I do think that that's fair play. And it is interesting too, because I didn't really think about it before until you said it. But this book could actually give Cody and Robin some cover. Because if you have to know like the depth and breadth of their relationship, some of this stuff can be explained, as her doing like what's name coming in doing her a favor. Robin coming in doing her a favor. Like, oh, I just noticed that the two of them, like the conversation about like the bedroom antics, yeah, Cody was over your house last night. You guys had an intimate moment. I have notes, right? Like for you to talk about it with Robin. She could play it like, oh, well, my sister wife is in trouble. We're supposed to have close relationships like that. If her relationship is struggling, that could affect the family. So I went over to her as a sister and tried to coach her on how to be a better sister wife and a better partner for Cody, because that's what he said he wanted, And so you could, like, in a weird way, she could be giving her cover. So
Yeah. And the last thing that struck out, Christine mentioned that Cody put his names on all the kids' birth certificates. If that's true, why did she have to get a DNA test for her
right.
child support?
I think some jurisdictions force it, but it was my understanding and again that would be a point, because I hadn't gotten to that point yet, but that would be a contradiction of terms, because she had said before on the show that Kody's name does not appear on any of her children's birth certificates. And she tapped into her supposed fear that people were going to find out, because she even makes reference in the chapter I just finished, chapter before. She said that her father's name doesn't appear on her sister's birth certificates, like his other kids' birth certificates.
Right.
And she said she did the same thing with Kody because they didn't want the state to find out or be able to connect the dots that he was the dad. So that would be a departure from sister wife canon. So,
Right. 'Cause she has said before that his name wasn't on at least all of the kids' birth certificates. I think it was said that they were on Janelle's, but not hers. But either
right.
way, she has mentioned that his name was not on her kids' birth certificates.
Right.
And then she just mentions like, oh yeah, he always had his name on all my kids' birth certificates. So I'd like to know which one it is, because there are a lot of contradictions in this book, a lot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like she's she goes into slight detail on some negative things, but she also glosses over some negative things and tries to spin a more positive light that really wouldn't make her look bad. It would make Kody look bad. So why is she lying about it? Or why did she lie about it before? I have a feeling she's lying about it in the book. But who knows? We probably will never know.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? And this is one of the drawbacks. I'll say it that way. One of the drawbacks in that situation, it's kind of like in a legal form. If you go to court and they catch you in a lie, then everything that you testify to is suspect after that point. And you actually do a lot more damage. You actually help yourself, especially if you tell the truth and you can show where you may be at fault or you've done something wrong and you're honest about that. When you blame somebody else for the things that they do, that holds a lot more credibility. But if you're sitting there saying that like you're telling contradictory stories, then you want to go into, yeah, and by the way, this is how Robin and Kody have insulted me and the things that they've said that, have hurt me and the family historically. Then we have to question those things too. Like, especially if you're found to be dishonest about like things that don't matter. If his name isn't on the birth certificates, it's not on the birth certificates. If it is, I don't know why you told that lie.
Right. It makes no sense.
It doesn't move the needle either way.
It's a non-issue.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, but if you lie about, I tell my kids this shit all the time. Like, when you say, one, you tell lies, you're giving away your integrity. So if you're going to sell your integrity, make sure it's worthwhile, right? Don't just give it away. Two, if you lie about small things, you will lie about all things. Because if you lie about stuff that doesn't matter, you damn sure going to lie about stuff that does matter.
Yeah.
And when it makes a difference. So,
gee, I've known somebody like that. But yeah, it's it's ridiculous. That's one of my major pet peeves are people that lie about small things that don't matter. It's like, so it just kind of tells you that they're in lying mode all the time and they don't even try for the truth. They just are on autopilot to try to make everything sound better, even if it's a small detail that doesn't matter.
right.
But yeah, the book was just, I don't know. I'm just saying, if I had read it without, if I had been an occasional watcher or something of Sister Wives, I would have thought, God, I wasted some money. But, I didn't find it really enlightening. I didn't expect it to be, but I did like a few of the added details of things we already knew. But, I enjoyed it because I like reading anyway, but I'm thinking about maybe getting the free audio thing and listening to it with her reading it and see if it changes well, it's not going to change my perspective a lot, but I may get something else out of it. I don't know. But, if it's free, it's free. It's something to go to sleep by or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I have been dying to talk about it since I read it, because I have nobody else, I should say, to rant to about this, because once again, nobody would understand what I was talking about, nor would they care. So I appreciate your time, and I let you go so other people can come on and get their thoughts out too. But
I
thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much for taking my call. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for your perspective. Appreciate it. Have a
Okay.
great night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Awesomeness. Yeah, I mean, I think that as we roll through, there are going to be people who like the book, and there's going to be people who don't like the book. We can all meet in the middle, but I do like to hear the perspectives from different folks about how they felt about the book, especially as I'm getting through it. Again, the first part of the book, I didn't really think it was. It talked a little bit about her history. There were some notes that I'll probably readdress maybe in Independent Lives or whatever, where I'll talk about like some of the things that some of the traps that she laid for herself by being so agreeable and going along with so many things and putting herself in that position to where everything is okay and not really having a whole lot of expectation as far as her happiness is concerned. And I think that laid the groundwork for her to find herself in the terrible situation she was in, because like it or not, as much as the word independent is thrown around so much of her life and her happiness was dependent on a man's desire to love her and be a part of her life and to make her life happy. The moment he decided that's something that he didn't want to do anymore, like, he destroyed her, because her happiness and her life and lifestyle was dependent on him and the whims and emotion that he had for her. So I think that is one of the things that we'll kind of get into in future lives. But next up we have Carmel Cutie, and then we'll have Linda. So what's going on, Linda? How you doing? We have Carmel Cuties coming up. What's up, Carmel Cuties? How you doing? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
You're a little low.
Oh, hold on 1 minute. How about now?
A little better.
So that's better. I don't necessarily know what's going on. I'll go out and come back in.
All right. Go to Linda. What's going on, Linda?
Hey, James, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I hear you good. How are you, my friend?
Doing well.
All right, so full disclosure, I have not been able to get my free copy. I've read some excerpts.
Okay.
I wasn't even going to join because I knew we were going to be talking about the book. And, like I said, I didn't get a chance. But I was spent the weekend with family, whatever. So on the train ride home, I'm scrolling through, and Notes to Self posted a video. It said Understanding Robin Brown. So I looked at it. James, it puts together your theory about the show being about Robin and Cody's romance and marriage, and my theory that they were working together to separate. Well, I said destroy, but it's to separate from the family. So what's going on is, I agree with Mustang Sally. Christine is not being authentic at all. She's trying to pull the wool over our eyes. We know her grandfather founded the AUB, and she knows all the rules and regulations, but there are prophets that waffle between you can have relations with your wife if you're having babies, or put them out to pasture if they're not. Now, the prophet that they were married under was with that perspective. The three OGs, it was that same prophet that was around for 30 something years. After you're a certain age, put them out to pasture, you get the new wife. Those children are sanctified because you're having sex to have children. Now, Robin was also married under that pastor. And Mel was trying to explain the entitlement because, like, we all felt like Robin came in and took over, and she had the sense of entitlement, that she was, she spoke Kody. Like, if I hear that one more time, I think I'm going to scream.
Right.
But I know. And that's where I think this is coming from, because if you sit back and you look at everything he did, he sure enough was cutting ties. It didn't matter that Truly was only a year and a half older than Solomon. Christine had made it clear she was not having any more babies. Mary, we know, was infertile, and Janelle never said anything. And let me circle back to that word independent. I would like for someone to explain to me why you're going to get married because you're going to have independence, or you're getting married and you still have. I don't understand that concept.
Right. Well, because I think they're saying because they're under polygamy, essentially because the husband is not around and you're abandoned by your husband, that you're forced into a state of independence because he's just not there. He ain't taking care of you. So you
See, that's why I love talking to you, the male perspective. So, like, what the hell are you getting married for? Why?
Right. Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And you're putting your children through this.
Right.
And she was going to be the one having the baby. She was going to be the new sanctified wife. And she was supposed to be the only one having children. But remember, the little glitch in that program was Christine was still fertile. So if Christine was going to be smart, for lack of a better word, she could have gotten pregnant again after Truly and really messed up that whole narrative that Kody and Robin had going on. But if you got a chance, take a gander at that video. I'm like, oh my God, James was on point. You were on point. I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy, because they were systematically cutting ties.
Right.
But instead, you was cutting ties with the wife, but he was also abandoning his children. Like, you were erasing and starting over again. And that is what bothers me. But what bothers me, I'm going to bring it back to Christine. She is, look, you can't be that gullible. And you can't be that dumb. I think she's taking us for the ride as well. Mm-hmm. She was the one who initiated all of this, because she was the rah, rah, rah. The poster child for polygamy is the best thing since sliced bread, until it ripped her heart out. But she knows everything that's in their doctrine, for lack of a better word. She knows how the prophets flip-flop, because now, Mel's father's a prophet, and he's like, I don't care what you do in the bedroom. What you do, however you handle your marriages. That's his take on it now. So, Christine said there's no underage marriage. Bullshit. There's plenty of underage marriage. There's plenty of, you're just using women to have children. That's it. There's no real marriages, no real godly commitment. When I think back to when Janelle explained the principle, oh, it takes you out of your selfishness and this, that, and the third. Girl, please. Stop it. Just stop it, because she walked away from him for 5 years. So I think Christine's book is a way to sell us a bill of goods, that she was this wonderful, cheery person who got shit on by this evil man and his evil wife and the manipulation, when she was a part of it in the first place, and it just didn't work out. So this is also her cleanup. This book is her cleanup arc, and Kody's trying to do his redemption arc, and they're all full of it. And they just, again, that my bone of contention is your kids in the middle. I don't care if they're 20, 25, they're still your kids, and you cost one child his life. Like, I can't let go of that ever. Right. But I think I'm looking at Christine with very different eyes. So I if I can't get it together with the freebie, I just might break down and read it, because when you have theories about people, like the other caller said, it's good we could vent with you. I like to know that I'm not crazy or overreacting, because my upbringing is different from them. I'm Puerto Rican. We're raised the Caribbean style family, first, last, and always. Right. It's your family almost comes before God, because if God says you could have 8 wives, it's not going to happen, because you're not going to be able to raise all those kids, and the father's not going to be there for all of them. So their version of God is different from ours.
I'm on a little personal note. I've had my time with some Puerto Rican young ladies, And I'm gonna be honest with you. Good luck if you a man. Good luck going home and telling a Puerto Rican woman that you gonna go get for what. Good luck, buddy. Good luck with that shit.
I didn't want to go there, but go there for me, boy. Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
I'm saying, good luck with that shit. If
You know it.
you get out of the house without a scratch on you, a lucky man. Or she was asleep. Ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way in the world.
You know it. You know, but how do you feel? Like, am I off the mark with Christine on this, or like, what's your gut reaction to this?
Well, I will say this. I think that like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like you've given me something to think about just from the respect of, you know, we've given her a lot of deference because when she came out, because she is so bubbly and because she is so you know, the way she presented herself, and everybody kind of looked down on Christine, like especially the other two wives, the other three wives, really. They all kind of treated her like she was naive and silly. You know, so we kind of were in that muscle reflective action of looking at her that way, like she didn't understand things. You understand? And even the way she talks about love and romance, there's a hint of naivete in the way she describes how relationships work. You know, I was going to marry Cody and it was going to be amazing. I was going to be the third wife. I was going to come in and all the problems were solved. Like, no, it's not. You know, you have new problems now because you're a new person coming into this relationship. Even if things were settled down after the first two wives, a new person is going to upset the apple cart.
Absolutely.
You know? And what strikes me is that if she comes in and she's aware of what's going on, and like you said, despite the fact that she knew that she was having problems, and she was talking about, from what I understand, she was talking about leaving Cody prior to even Robin coming into the picture. She was talking about leaving Cody. That would have been prior to her doing a TV show where she presented to the public and the fans that this is the most awesomest thing ever. And she went along with that live for night. Not only did she go along with the live to a no small degree, can we say that she was basically the architect of that lie, because she's the one that actually got the show. Like
Exactly.
They are on this show because of Christine. Not because this is something Cody found out and brought it to the family. They're on the show because she was a part of an organization that was trying to bring this to light, polygamy out into the forefront. And the producers and documentarians and people were showing up trying to find a family to put on TV. She went back, told Cody, Cody pushed it, and that's how they wound up on TV. But yeah. So
and three more points I'm going to add. Based on her relationship with Cody before the show started, for her to leave, she was never going to get a release because she didn't have any grounds. So that's probably why she stayed. She wasn't going to get a release. I forgot my second point now, but my third point is this. Like you said, everyone was shitting on her because she was the naive one. Sort of like the Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey. She was brought on for comic relief. She was the dummy. She was this. But look at how that woman walked through the fire, and look at her now, and look at everyone who laughed at her.
Right.
Their history. Right. She's standing tall. But again, I think, Chris, like you said, Christine was the architect of all of this. And I think she's trying to redo those plans because, this was my point that I almost forgot, the third point. She still doesn't denounce polygamy.
Right.
Not on the talk shows, not in her book. She was asked a direct question, not once, but twice. She dodged it.
Yeah.
So I think this book is her cleanup because, like she said, I'm working on another book. Go ahead, girl. Work on another book because I think we're going to move on to the next thing because I think she's taken us for a ride just as much as Cody has.
Right.
And that's
a prettier package.
I'm telling you, it's a package. But yep, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I appreciate that because I think you've given us you certainly given me something to think about as I consider a little bit about what's going on. Because if you put it in that perspective, you know, especially with the Teresa Giudice. For those who are not familiar, Teresa Giudice was on Real Housewives of New Jersey. She started out, she was like the silly, dippy, ditzy housewife, didn't understand anything. But what she's proven over her time on Real Housewives of New Jersey is that not only was she not dumb, and not only did she outlast everybody who she had a problem on the show with, she didn't just outlast them, but when you get into it, you start to actually see how intelligent she is. And not only intelligent, but she's actually like, she's manipulative. And in some cases, she can be wicked. Like that, Teresa's a rough woman.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's serious business. So, you know, sometimes, and you know, through reality show magic and presentation, it does help too, because they edit out and they make you look like you're just silly.
Mm-hmm.
And so people, they taking advantage of poor Teresa. Teresa's the one that flipped the table over, for those who might remember that. But, you know, she's just so, oh my goodness, why are they picking on poor Teresa? Teresa was orchestrating a lot of that behind the scenes.
Yes, she was.
You know, and you know, we give, maybe that's the thing. Maybe, you know, and not to disparage Christine, but, you know, just as a possibility, something just to throw it out there. She might just be a better, she might just be a more polished Robin. You know,
you stop reading my mind. Stop reading my mind. I was just gonna not, you know, go there, but and that's why, like when you said Robin took care of her kids, she did everything to put herself in position as the first wife, because there was absolutely no reason on God's green earth that Mary had to divorce Kody to marry Robin and him to adopt the kids. It was not necessary because he doesn't have health care for them.
right.
That was the whole excuse. Homeboy wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting paid by the show. And that's why, like, the more you look at it and the more you see, it's like it was set up for her to come in as queen bee. The other three were going to be put to pasture. She was going to have the babies. And I guess otherwise was supposed to come in, but so much negativity has happened. Like if the prophet of the AUB doesn't wake up, there's going to be an FBI investigation on all of them. He needs to excommunicate Kody, you know, give a release to all those women and denounce it. Otherwise, but it would be a good thing if the FBI got in there, because who knows how many young ladies could be saved from that, you know, on a serious note.
Right.
But yeah, I think Christine has bought us tickets to Coney Island, and we're on the roller coasters. We're going rounds and yes, sir. I think we need to look at her with a little bit, a lot more discernment. You know, the same way we waffle between giving Mary grace, we better look at the grace we've been giving Miss Christine.
Right. Right. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Have
Bye.
a good one.
You too.
Eye opening. Hold on. Let me, I got to do something real quick, guys. Let me, sorry about that, guys. Somebody was banging on my damn door. Trying to see who that was. I'm back. All right. Next up, big shout out to Linda. And let me give Negla 3 gifted 1 My Take on Reality membership. Thank you so much, Negla. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys thank Negla. Give you a little something. Woo! And Negla 3 had a comment. $2 super chat. Robert made sure to secure that bag. Yes, she did. Robin was serious about that shit. Like, you can say what you want about her, but she made sure she took care of them finances in her favor. Give a Negla a little something, something. All right. Then we have Caramel Cuties up in the house. What's up, Caramel Cuties? How you doing?
Okay, let's try this again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. I had to get on my iPad. My phone is on its last leg. I think it's time for me and AT&T to pay a visit. But okay. I'm oddly conflicted by the book, and I have been a Christine fan from episode 1, season 1. There's a few tad bit points. I'm not trying to spoil it for those who haven't read the book yet, but I got the audio version, which to hear it in her own voice is one thing than to have to read the page. I'm at work on the phone with the earphones in my ear trying to still listen. So there's a few chapters I need to go back and re-listen to uninterrupted. So the part that had me a little confused was she talked about her grandfather marrying them, and I was like, wait a minute, but didn't your grandfather die when you were like 5? That
Right.
confused me. Then a few, odd incidents like what's been discussed tonight about the birth certificates and the fact that she was claiming she was wanting to leave Kody well before the show even started. But of course, they were dirt poor, so she probably had no outlet to even leave him if she genuinely wanted to. Stuck with 5 kids, no full-time job, no full education. I wouldn't want them problems myself. But as a single mom, we gonna make it happen however we have to make it happen. But I got 2, not 5. So there's a difference. I was slightly irritated by the word rubbish, just like some of the women said tonight. I was like, I'm over reading this damn word. I just kind of skipped over it when I heard it. But I was a little irritated by, again, she reiterated the whole melting down the ring story about Mary, and certain aspects I feel like she was deflecting from her on parts that I don't think we necessarily needed to know. I guess I don't know. Like I said, I'm highly conflicted by it. What it did open my ears to, and one part that irked me is when she talked about with her telling Tim Gibbons is his name, I think it is, the producer, that she was going to leave Kody. And supposedly he was all distraught by that, and that's why he left. And we all know that that's straight bullshit.
Right.
We know he left after Garrison was, unalived. And so the fact that I don't want to say she truly believes that's the reason he left being the producer of the show, because if so, you can't be that damn stupid. You can't. You can't be that naive. You can't be that gullible. You just, come on now. I feel like that point irked me, and I probably stopped listening for 2 days just to calm myself down, because there's no way in hell she genuinely thinks he was distraught from her leaving the family. Hell, he still had 2 other wives hanging on at that point, so it's not like just because one wife left, the whole show was going to go down the drain. He still had Mary holding on like an idiot. He still somewhat had Janelle, and he had Robin. So at the end of the day, the show wouldn't have ended just because Christine left.
You know what? And the weird part about it is that, again, I don't want to be an asshole when I say this.
Go ahead.
But as my wife said, but you're gonna be if I'm right and I'm watching the show, the way the show is produced, especially in the first season of this particular series, this is a love story between Kody and Robin, period. The wives were slated, especially if you listen to the edited comments from the OG3, they were slated in this reality show to be the victims or be the villains. They were never supposed to be the victims. They were always going to be the villains. They were supposed to be the mean girl club who picked on and mistreated Robin and gave her and Kody the like the Romeo and Juliet effect of they're so in love and these women are so against their love and trying to get in the way of their love, and they're so jealous and upset and envious of the passion that exists between Cody and Robin. That's what the show is about. Like, and so I don't see anybody, you know, when Christine finally says, you know what, I've had enough of dealing with Cody, I'm not leaving the show. I'm just leaving this marriage. I don't see why he would quit at that point, especially when it's hitting his highs.
Right.
Into 17, like 16, going into 17. That was like the high point of the show. Like they were back to numbers that they were at when the show first started.
Correct.
You know, so
that dang sure didn't make sense to me at all. The other comment she had said, and again, my apologies to anybody who's on the live who has yet to read or hear the book. I'm not trying to spoil anything for you guys, I promise. But the part when she talked about how Robin was saying, when they were talking about like in Vegas, Cody was never really around, and I'm paraphrasing in my own words because this is not exactly what was said, but basically like, Robin, Cody's not around and my kids are affected by it. And supposedly Robin said something about, oh, Christine, your kids are good. It's my kids who don't know who their father is. Bullshit. It ain't no way I would sit there and let this raggedy mouth heifer tell me what my kids are good or not good when I'm the one hearing my children complain that their daddy ain't nowhere around when they've been used to their daddy being around, even if it was only for every third day.
Well,
it's just no way I would have sat back and been super nice or whatever else. Yeah, I get Christine didn't trust Robin and definitely didn't trust her after that point, but it would have been massive pushback, and I would give two shits. It's not like Cody was doing her any doggone way.
Right. But I beg, like, there's a couple points. One, like you said, you don't get to tell me what my kids are going through. This is their experience, and they're entitled to experience their experiences for themselves. Mm-hmm. One. Two, they do know who their father is. They were seeing their father. They know who their dad is. You don't want them to see their father. That's what. So any problems or complications you have with that man is between you and you. So what are we talking? Like, you don't get to diminish my kids' experiences because you're denying your kids an experience. And so therefore my kids have to suffer too. What kind of shit is that?
Exactly.
Like, and this isn't, and that's the thing too. This ain't the oppression Olympics. So just because my kids are going through some shit don't mean you got to try to outdo what they doing and try to make your kids suffer more. Like, that's not
Robin's
how we're not doing
the perpetual victim. Her and her children never fails. So God forbid if, Isabel had scoliosis, then, oh my gosh, Dayton's autism is just so bad. He can't walk. He can't move. He can't do anything. He's so debilitating. Like, that's the type of games that Robin played. And of course, Cody played into it. But I don't care. As an adult, you can dog me out. You can talk about me. You can do what you want. But when it comes to them kids, I don't play when it comes to them kids. And there ain't no way in God's green earth I would have sat back while he dogged out all 6 of my children, whether they were adults, whether they were still minors, whether they all were still in the home or not. I would have put my foot down. Show would have ended. Season 6, season 7, wouldn't have been no recommitment ceremony, none of that. And to hell with being in a contract, I would have spilled all the damn secrets. I'm going to blow up this for if I ain't getting it, ain't nobody getting it. And I swear by that. So it doesn't make sense to me why Christine would sit in that. And if she's admitting to all of us that she was ready to go out the door well before the show started, baby, you played the game just like everybody else did. Right.
Well, because that goes back to what we were talking about with Linda earlier, is that, when you start, and this is one of the challenges I think that they're going to have moving forward, because if you try to play the perpetual victim in this situation, and it starts to come to light, because you want to make yourself the hero of the story. So you're going to start revealing stuff that you probably shouldn't reveal if you're going to be the victim. Mm-hmm. If you knew about it the whole time, it's one thing for you to be fooled and you to be naive and thinking that you were in love and the relationship was going to turn around and Cody was going to become the man that he once was for you and your kids. And that's what you were expecting. That's one thing for you to go from season 1 to 19. It's a completely different thing if you were planning on walking out on this dude because he wasn't doing the things he needed to do way back when, before the show started, then when you're given the show, all of a sudden you try to work shit out. And you sit there, and not only do you try to work shit out, like you said, we have episode after episode, time after time, situation after situation, where you create an environment where you're praising him, you're praising the system, you're praising the institution that you say is oppressing you now. So, you can't have it both ways. Either you knew and you were duped, or you didn't know. You know what I mean? You didn't know you were duped, or you knew and you went along with it. And if you went along with it, then it is what it is.
Yeah, I think she was an active participant. And the last part that irked the dog stank out of me was when she said her family was what it was. And I get it. Without polygamy, she wouldn't have had the children that she had. She wouldn't have been blessed with the grandchildren that she has from the children that she has. And I get that wholeheartedly. But she said she wouldn't change a thing. The fact that your children went without for years, their basic needs weren't fully met time and time again. The fact that they were ignored and trashed and dogged out by their damn daddy, you wouldn't change that?
Mm-hmm.
From mother to mother, that's an insult. Because I know as a mother, outside of religion, outside of my job, I tell everybody, I'm a mom before I'm an employee. I'm a mom before I'm this. I'm a mom before I'm that. If my child calls me and I got a day where I can't call off or I can't leave work early and he's sick or he's got something going on, I'm out. What's the worst that's going to happen? You going to fire me? Fire me. I'll collect my unemployment, keep it pushing until I get a new job. I'm a parent first. And that means I have to take care of the lives that I birthed, that God instilled me to take care of and to nurture and to do all the things that mothers or parents, I ain't even just gonna say a mother, that parents are supposed to do. And there's no way I would have sat back month after month, year after year, eating stale old bread. You know what I'm saying? And then especially once Robin came into the family, again, they did not know how long the show was going to last. Therefore, you still sacrificed your children's well-being. For what? This man and his dream to be a superstar? That woman and her damn greed to meet Oprah and whatever else? I call bullshit. And it's not okay. We don't know, the lasting effects that polygamy has put on these kids. Because as you see, they're not here. And that one opened your eyes to saying, okay, yes, I might not have had the family I had I not been in polygamy, but who's to say? You would have married a man who loved you, who only thought about you, and however many kids you had with that man, it might have been a better situation than what it was what you had with Kody.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that there's also the point too where you may not regret your children, but you recognize that there could have been different and better, more appropriate decisions being made.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean? Like, there is a subtle difference. Like, sitting there saying that, like, looking back on your situation and saying, yeah, mistakes were made. That's not the same as I don't want my kids and I regret having children. It's just that, my point. Is that my thing? Hold on. 1 second. I just want to make sure. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got all kinds of shit going on in my house. I don't know what the fuck going on. Pardon my
Same
French.
here. I'm shocked y'all don't hear my kids in the background. They out there playing the video game.
Yeah, because it sounded like my garage was going. I'm like, ain't nobody down there putting their garage up? Somebody in my house? Somebody trying to catch some of these hot rocks on a Sunday afternoon?
I get it. Gotta protect yours first.
Yeah, ain't nobody here but me and my kids. Somebody gonna get some hot rocks. Like,
oh Lord.
But
Yeah, but no.
slow singing file breaking to be taped off. Yourself. But wake up in the chalk outline. But
that means they ain't waking up. But okay.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said, I think that there's that point where you know, and I understand like the point of, you know, you're in extreme poverty. You want better for yourself. You want better for your kids. This is an opportunity. I understand all that. And I think that that's a fair observation. However, once things start moving and you are on TV, you're making money, you're buying houses, and you guys are being set up. Something you said earlier really hit me. And I want to just say it this way. If you think about it, difference between Christine and Robin. Robin moved the entire family, uprooted the entire family to go to Arizona so that they could be with her son who was pursuing higher education in Arizona. So they uprooted the family in Vegas, moved to Arizona to make her son feel more comfortable. Christine's daughter, we talk about Isabel's surgery all the time, but that wasn't the start of her difficulties and her struggle with her scoliosis.
Nope.
She went for years and they didn't do anything. They went to a couple doctor's appointments. They tried to give her exercises, you know, so on and so forth. But this man uprooted his entire family for Robin's kid because he might go to a school and not feel comfortable. If he wanted to go to school, he could have went to UNLV if
And
it
he
was
got
so
in.
important for them to be close by, and that way the whole family wouldn't have had to be uprooted. But it's just priority. Like I say that to say this. It's just a question of priorities. Like Robin's kids always came first, or at least that's how it's presented on the show.
Right.
Her kids always came first, and they always got preferential treatment. And it's one thing to say, yeah, Kody and Robin are sons of bitches because they let this happen and they forced it onto the family. But at the same time, as a mom, how do you sit there and let your kid come in second and not be considered when it's things that are important and necessary for them, but you are actively participating? Because Kody could ask you to sell your house, but he can't force you to sell shit. He couldn't force Christine or Janelle to sell those houses in Vegas because they had to put those, because those houses were 100% in their names.
Correct.
So you had to go along with it. And my brother, he said something when we were kids, my younger brother, he said something when we were kids. I never forgot. He said, you know, the only way that people can walk all over you is if you lay down for them first.
Yep.
And so, I mean, as bad as Kody and Robin are, like some of this, you guys laid down for them. You let them do the shit to you. And I'll sit here and I'll criticize Kody and Robin all day. Got videos and videos of me criticizing their asses. But at some point, especially if you know the difference, like we've always pretended, like at least many of us on the channel, we've always pretended like they didn't know the difference because they grew up in this lifestyle. But apparently she knew the damn difference.
Right.
So I'm just saying, you know.
She knew. And my last take is, I think you guys mentioned it. I was in and out of the live, trying to get back in, talking about how I guess Robin spoke on Christine no longer giving Kody quote unquote massages. And I just feel like if you knew coming into the relationship with all of them that talking about what they did behind closed doors in their bedrooms as individual relationships was a no-no. I feel like Kody was wrong for discussing anything sexual about him and Christine or him and any of the other wives with Robin. But we know him and her pillow talk quite often. But for her to fix her funky mouth to say it back to Christine, oh, Christine better than me, because that would have been the day I chose violence.
Right.
And I probably would have mollywopped her all over the house.
Yeah, because I mean, that's crazy.
Ain't no way you gonna talk to me about what I do with my man in my supposed closed bedroom, and yet we supposed to remain cool and I'm supposed to be friends with you as a sister wife. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
Not today, tomorrow, or next week. But that's just me.
Well, I mean, it's crazy in fact, because if you think about it, one, like this is what we've been doing for the last 20 years. Like when when Robin was in grade school, that's what they was doing. That's how they got 6 people walking around.
Right.
2, I don't even like your ass. How you gonna come to me and tell me some stuff? You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't even like your ass. And you gonna come to me and talk to me about what I'm doing? Oh yeah, like I said earlier, yeah, you was with Kody last night. I got some notes. Like what? First of all, especially if it's a situation where Kody ain't running back to me telling me about what y'all doing. So why he running telling you what we doing? That's what you know what I mean?
Right.
So you don't be coming to me like, oh, okay. Like, even if you are telling me, you probably shouldn't tell me because you better not be talking about what I'm. And I never understood that shit either. I'm gonna be honest with you, especially as a young guy, I never understood fellas that will go around and brag about the women or people that they with. I never understood that because if you loose lips sink ships,
Right.
and worse than sinking ships, they destroy opportunities. So if you out there running your mouth about all the people you sleeping with, then that if there's another person who wants to be with you, or like I said last week, somebody wants to try something freaky deep, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't trust you. I don't feel secure in doing no freaky shit with you because then you gonna run back and tell all your friends, all of you know what I mean?
Right.
All the positions or whatever I'm doing, like you gonna run back and share that business with somebody else, and everybody looking at me like I'm crazy now. You know, no, that's like you just destroying opportunity. So even if like because I remember when Robin got on season 17, Tell All, where she sat there and was like, Kody has had wives reject him
Yep.
physically. And that's not how you make relationships work. Yeah, you're gonna have women rejecting you physically if you running your about to cuss, but if you out there running your mouth about what y'all doing, yeah, you're gonna have women that don't want to put themselves in that situation.
Yep.
Especially in a religion and community where they're not open-minded when it comes to sex and sexuality. So no, no, of course they gonna get rejected, bruh. And you probably would if Kody went and told Robin about the sex stuff. Not only did you tell her, but Robin that felt comfortable enough and boss enough where she came back and told Christine that she was told about it. So I wonder if that's when Christine was like, "No, I ain't giving you no more. Like we're done with that." And he probably had to wait a little while to get some, get back in there. Wait for her to catch the feeling. Because she was probably like, "Nope, we're good. You don't like it, take your ass down to Robin's. But it's your night." Well, I mean, you can hold off for a couple more days till you get back there to Robin's. And maybe that's why he was over there every morning. No. Let me do that here. But Caramel Cuties, it was a pleasure. Oh, she just hung up. I guess she might have got disconnected. It kicked me out. Thanks for allowing me to share my perspective. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. She just stopped talking. No worries. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, I guess I said I was gonna do 2 hours. I don't know. My system has been acting weird last couple weeks. Like the Kremlins have been coming after my ass. But yeah, I appreciate everybody calling in. We had some great calls. And again, I don't want people to think that we're bashing Christine or OG3 or whatever. When push comes down to shove, we're just giving our honest perspectives. And I like to think, maybe as naive as it sounds, as it is, I like to think that people tune in and come to the channel because they want to hear honest reaction, not necessarily the put together propaganda of powder puff pieces where we just openly fillet the cast members and pretend like everything that they do is perfect and awesome and just the only people who made mistakes were Robin and Kody. I think there's plenty of room for everybody to be human and to live the human experiences. And some of those experiences are going to include wins, and some of them are going to include losses. Some of them are going to include you doing the right thing, and some of them are going to include mistakes. And if we're going to be honest, and we're going to be, more importantly, we're going to be credible and have integrity, then we have to be honest about all things. We have to be fair about our observations. We have to be fair about how we talk about these things so that way, when we do level criticisms, those criticisms can be taken seriously. Because if we're sitting around pretending like everything they did was perfect and right and awesome, then we're eliminating any positive credibility that we have towards being able to criticize and openly talk about this in a real way. But that's my take. I appreciate you guys coming in. Let me give some shout outs to Negla3, the super chat, local arts witch, super chat, Negla3 with the membership, and Negla3 once again. Appreciate you. Let me give you guys a little something, as well as all the callers who did an awesome job. And like I said, I love talking to you guys because you guys not only have interesting conversations, but you present me with things that make me think about some of the stuff that's going on and different perspectives on and different ways of looking at these situations. And I appreciate you guys. Let me give you a little something. Kathy Ferran in the house. What's going on? But as it turns out, Kathy, we're about to go. But before we leave, I want to make sure I give a huge shout out to our mega mods, Lizzie B, Caramel Cuties, as well as Brittany Not Brittany. Thank you guys so much. The mega mod team be holding us down. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to, I think moving forward, I'm going to try to cut some of these down so I'll make it a little more bite-sized for folks if you want to watch it again, just my opening synopsis, that kind of thing. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. See you on the next one, y'all. Appreciate you. Have a great night. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. PCH, country limit. I don't need a guide. Follow lights. Take me where I want to visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right like I